What if the very people sworn to protect your neighborhood turned out to be the ones stealing it from beneath your feet? It was a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning that looked ordinary, until one envelope changed everything. A crisp white letter, stamped with the seal of Greenwood Hills HOA, lay on my counter. My stomach sank. I had seen their petty notices before, but this was different. I tore it open, and there it was. Bold black letters that made my hands tremble. Final notice of fine, $250,000. $250,000? For what? A fence too ugly? Horses grazing too close? A barn painted the wrong color? They weren't enforcing rules. They were declaring war. My blood boiled. This wasn't about fences or barns. This was about power and about pushing me out of the land my father left me. But this time, they crossed the line. I grabbed my jacket and stormed out the door. They needed to see exactly who they were messing with. The HOA office stood like a monument to arrogance. Sleek glass walls, trimmed hedges sharp as blades. Inside, the air was cold, calculated, designed to intimidate. But fear was no longer in me, only fire. I shoved the letter onto Roger Thompson's desk, the smug president who thought his little title made him a king. His smirk vanished when I told him the truth. No shade of beige, no fence, no fine would break me. Not this time. While Roger tried to call the cops, I searched his files, and there it was, the truth that would flip this entire war. Deeds, titles, not just my ranch, but the whole neighborhood, the roads, the office, the land under their feet. I wasn't just a homeowner, I was the landowner. I dropped the papers onto his desk and smiled. You don't own me, Roger. I owned this neighborhood, the streets, the homes, even this office. His face drained of color. He thought he had power, but he never realized the truth. The HOA only existed because I allowed it. I walked out of that office with more than anger. I walked out with a mission. The HOA wanted war. I was ready to dismantle their empire piece by piece. They had no idea the storm they had just unleashed.
I called a meeting at my barn that night. One by one, my neighbors arrived, their faces heavy with fear of the HOA. But when I laid the deeds across the table, silence filled the air. Then, gasps, relief, hope. For the first time in years, they realized the HOA didn't own them. I did, and I was on their side. Roger wasn't going down quietly. He doubled the fines, called the sheriff, and plastered the neighborhood with threats. But corruption has cracks. When the sheriff saw the papers, even he stepped back. Roger was losing ground. The courtroom smelled of old wood and judgment. Roger's lawyers sat polished, smug, ready to tear me apart. But when my attorney dropped the stack of deeds on the judge's desk, the air shifted. Gasps echoed. Even the judge leaned forward. Roger's empire was crumbling, and he knew it. In desperation, Roger tried one final card, accusing me of fraud. But the FBI agents waiting in the back of the courtroom stood up. Turns out, Roger had been hiding millions, siphoning from HOA funds for years. His downfall wasn't just poetic, it was federal. The gavel struck like thunder. Guilty, the judge declared. Roger's smirk was gone, replaced by the hollow stare of a man who had lost everything. The HOA board scattered, and neighbors who once trembled now stood tall. With Roger gone, the neighborhood finally breathed free. We tore down the signs, ended useless rules, and planted gardens where fences once divided us. For the first time in decades, Greenwood Hills wasn't a prison. It was home. But here's the part no one expected. In those deeds, buried deep in the fine print, I found something shocking. The land wasn't just mine. My father had signed it into trust for all of us. That ranch, those streets, even the office, they belonged to the community, not to me alone, not anymore. I could have kept it all, but power without purpose is just another kind of cage. So I handed the trust to the people. From that day forward, the HOA was gone. In its place stood something stronger, a community that no one could buy, bully, or break ever again.